My name is Marter, and what I am about to tell you, you might think it's just a story, but everything I say really happened to me. I saw it with my own eyes, I felt the fear in my bones, and I carried the weight of that silence on my body. I am Marter, just an ordinary man. Not a magician, not an exorcist, not a philosopher. Just an ordinary human being. But one night, one dark night, changed my entire life. That night, I was passing through the old path near my village. A path that was almost abandoned now. Once, it was filled with greenery, with birds singing and children playing. But now, only silence remained. It felt as if the earth itself had stopped breathing. Why did I take that path? You must be wondering. The truth is, it was simply a shortcut to reach the city. To get there, I had to cross this deserted road. People used to say there was something there, an old shadow, something hidden. But I never believed those tales. I thought they were just excuses made by fearful people. It was night. The moon was hiding behind clouds, appearing for a moment, then vanishing again. The wind was sharp, and the branches of the trees swayed as if some unseen hands were shaking them. The sound of my footsteps echoed on the path. Tap, tap, tap. That was the only sound, and it merged with the beating of my heart into a strange, uneasy rhythm. I kept walking. The further I went, the deeper the silence became. The birds were quiet. Even the crickets were silent. It was as if even the wind had stopped moving. Suddenly, I felt it. Someone was walking behind me. I stopped. My breath froze. I turned around, nothing. Only darkness. I whispered to myself, "Marter, it's just your imagination. You're alone." I began to walk again. But after only a few steps, the same feeling returned. Someone was right behind me. Footsteps. Slow. Steady. Tap. 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 I spun around quickly. No one was there. Sweat trickled down my forehead. The night was cold, yet I was drenched. I began to walk faster. But the faster I went, the louder those footsteps grew, matching my pace. Then suddenly, the sound stopped. I forced myself to stay calm, kept moving. But the next moment, I heard breathing. Heavy, ragged, as if someone was standing right at my ear. My heart thudded in my chest. I began to run, blindly, desperately running. At last I stopped under an old banyan tree. That tree, it looked strange. Its branches hung low, like long arms stretching down. And in those arms, something was hanging, wrapped in white cloth. I squinted to see clearly. It wasn't just cloth, it was something wrapped inside human clothing. My feet started stepping backward on their own. I wanted to run away, but my eyes were locked there. And then, that white bundle began to move, slowly swaying up and down. Like a cradle, a cold shiver ran down my spine. Suddenly, a voice came from that swinging thing. Low, rough, trembling. Marter. My legs froze like stone. That voice had spoken my name. That voice, it shook me to the core. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out of my throat. My lips trembled, my chest burned, and still, I stood frozen under that tree. The white bundle swayed again. Once, twice, and then stopped. I forced myself to move. Step by step, I backed away, my eyes never leaving that hanging thing. And then, I heard it again. Marter. But this time, it was not one voice. It was many, low whispers, layered over each other, all repeating my name. Some deep, some sharp, some like the hissing of snakes. My heart pounded so loudly I thought it would burst. I turned and ran. The path stretched endlessly before me. The more I ran, the darker it seemed to get. The moon vanished completely. Even the stars seemed to hide. And then, I realized something terrifying. The sound of whispers was no longer behind me. They were ahead, waiting. I slowed down, my breath heavy, my legs trembling. The silence pressed down on me like a weight. I wanted to stop. I wanted to turn back. But behind me was that tree, that bundle, those voices. So I forced myself forward. The path turned, and there it was. An old house. I swear it hadn't been there before. I had walked this road many times as a child. There had never been a house here. But now, in the middle of the forest path, it stood. Broken windows. A door hanging crooked on rusted hinges. The walls were cracked, covered in crawling vines. And in the silence of the night, I saw a faint glow inside. A candle. I should have turned back. I should have run anywhere else. But something pulled me. A strange heaviness in my chest, a whisper in my ear that said, "Go inside, Marter. They're waiting." I stepped closer. The air grew colder. The smell of damp earth and rot filled my nostrils. The wooden steps creaked as I climbed them, each sound echoing like a scream in that silent night. I reached the door. My hand shook as I pushed it open. The hinges groaned. Inside was darkness, thick, suffocating, except for that candle, sitting on a table at the center of the room. The flame flickered, though there was no wind. And beside the candle, something was scratched into the wood. I leaned closer. My eyes adjusted to the dim light. Letters, carved roughly with a knife. It read, "Marter, welcome home." I froze. The words carved into the table stared back at me, glowing faintly in the candlelight. Marter, welcome home. But this wasn't my home. I had never been here before. At least, I thought I hadn't. My breath came fast and shallow. My eyes darted around the room. Cracks ran along the ceiling like veins. The walls pulsed with dampness, as though they were alive. And then, the door slammed shut behind me. The sound shook the entire house. I spun around, but the door was gone. Yes, gone. Where it should have been, there was only another wall, covered in peeling paint. I stumbled back, nearly knocking over the candle. The flame jumped, but didn't go out. I whispered to myself, "This isn't real. This isn't real." But then, I heard it again. The voices. Soft at first, like distant echoes. Then louder. Dozens of them. Hundreds of them. All whispering the same thing. "Marter, you came back. Marter, we've been waiting." The candle flickered violently. Its light stretched across the walls. And in that trembling glow, shadows began to appear. Not mine. Not natural. Tall, bent, twisted shapes, standing in the corners, crouching along the ceiling. Their heads jerked in unnatural movements, their limbs too long, their fingers claw-like. I could not see their faces, only hollow spaces where eyes should be. And all of them were facing me. "Marter," they whispered, "you belong to us." I pressed my hands over my ears. I shut my eyes. But the whispers, they were inside my head now. When I opened my eyes again, the candle was gone. Yet the room wasn't dark. Instead, the walls themselves were glowing faintly, as though lit from within. And on every wall, scratched deep into the plaster, was my name. Marter. Over and over. Some fresh, some ancient, written in hands that weren't mine. I stumbled back, tripping on the uneven floor. My heart hammered in my chest. I wanted to scream, but the air in the room seemed to choke me. Then, from the farthest corner, one of the shadows began to move. Not just sway, not just twitch. It stepped forward, and though it had no face, I felt its eyes pierce straight into me. It raised its arm, thin, black, endless, and pointed at me. And then in one single, deafening voice, all the whispers turned into a scream. "You can never leave, Marter." I stumbled forward. My footsteps echoed endlessly. The silence was worse than the whispers. But then ahead of me, I saw it. A mirror. Old, cracked, standing alone in the tunnel. I approached slowly, my breath catching. And when I looked into it, I screamed. Because the reflection wasn't me. It was one of them. A shadow. Hollow eyes. Twisted body, claw-like hands, and yet it spoke with my voice. "I told you, Marter. You were never lost. You just forgot." I staggered back from the mirror, my breath ragged. "No, this isn't me. This isn't me." But the reflection moved closer, pressing its blackened hands against the glass. The surface rippled like water, and then it stepped through. I fell to the ground, crawling backward. The shadow, my shadow, stood over me. Its hollow eyes glowed faintly, like dying embers. "You forgot, Marter," it whispered. "You left us, but we never left you." My chest tightened. Memories flickered, too fast, too sharp. Flashes of this house, the forest, the whispers, and me, not as I am now, but as one of them. I saw myself hanging from that tree. I saw my name carved on the walls, scratched by my own hands. I saw the candle burning, always waiting for me to return. "No," I gasped, shaking my head. "I escaped. I had a life. The shadow cut me off, its voice like thunder. "You never escaped. That life was the lie. This place, this is the truth." And then it leaned down, its cold hands wrapping around my throat. The tunnels roared with whispers. "Marter, Marter, Marter." My vision blurred. The shadow's face pressed closer, merging with mine. The world around me dissolved into darkness. And in that last moment, I understood. I had never left this place. I had always belonged to it. Because I was not the visitor. I was the ghost. The whispers fell silent. The candle burned one last time. And in the darkness of that house, if you ever walk by, you might still hear a voice calling your name. A voice that says, "I am Marter, and I am still here."